honored to introduce Senator Tina Smith, one of our great senators from the state of Minnesota, who has served in the U.S. Senate since 2017. She's won back-to-back election victories, securing her first 6-year term in November of 2020, and she has been a fighter at the national and at the state level for years and years and years for progressive issues and for racial and economic justice, and I will introduce her right now.
Thank you to all of you. I am, as you can see, I am so excited to be here. So I want to tell you a story about how grassroots power changed Minnesota and has the same power to change the country and change the world. We are here today because we know that the power of this great democracy comes from the people of this great democracy. It lives in the communities and the neighborhoods and in the people who make this amazing country home. Now, there's a lot of people out there that will try to tell us that the power actually lives in the big boardrooms. It lives in the places where the rich people are. But we know differently. And the story of what happened in Minnesota is a story about the long work of many years of people working in coalition, faith communities, labor communities, immigrant rights communities, people everywhere in Minnesota, rural communities, farm communities, coming together to say we're going to use our voices to make Minnesota be the state that we want it to be. Now, this didn't just happen in one short, sweet legislative session in Minnesota in the winter and spring of 2023. It's been happening over decades, right? Because we know that the path of progress is not a straight line. It's not inexorably bending forward, as Dr. King said. It bends forward because of the tireless effort of individuals that never give up. And that's what we're looking at right here. For years, people have been working to build support and a coalition for the accomplishments of the Minnesota legislature and Governor Walz and Peggy Flanagan this last legislative session. They were organizing at the grassroots to help people understand why it mattered that immigrants could have access to a driver's license even if they didn't have citizenship. They were organizing to help people understand the importance, the power of people having the freedom to decide for themselves about their own reproductive lives, not some politician in some legislative room in St. Paul or Washington, D.C. They were organizing to talk about the value of healthcare as a fundamental human right, not something that you should just have because you have the resources to buy it. They were organizing around the power of people being able to organize, be able to come together to negotiate and work collectively to improve their working conditions, their lives, their wages, their healthcare, their retirement. All of that work happened for decades, and then here's what happened in the fall of 2022 in Minnesota. Candidates up and down the ballot, from school board to governor, went out and campaigned on these values. And they told Minnesotans, if you elect us, if you give us the power, we are going to be fighting for you in the state capitol, and we're not going to sit around and talk about this anymore. We're going to do it. And lo and behold, they won. They won because they told Minnesotans what they were going to do, and then Minnesota said, yes, please do that. Show us that government can work for us. And that's what happened. And what I love about this story is that these leaders didn't sit there with the power that they had been given by their citizens. They didn't sit there and say, oh, we should be careful. We should be cautious. We don't want to overreach. We don't want to go too far. They knew that behind them were millions of Minnesotans that wanted them to take action, and that is what they did. That is the story that you are hearing today. And does that not give you hope for our democracy? Yeah. When we act like we have the power, when we act on that grassroots vision that our beloved Paul Wellstone talked about, that politics is for improving people's lives, and that we all do better when we act on that, we can literally change the world. That is why I am so proud to be here to support these leaders, but also to support the thousands and thousands and thousands thousands of grassroots leaders that actually did the work, that went door to door, that talked on the phones, that talked to their neighbors in the grocery stores, even if their neighbors were really sure they wanted to talk to them. And they built the coalition to make the change, to show that we can deliver for people and make this government work for everyone. I'm so proud of this work. I'm proud to have been a part of it. Back in the day when some of the things like driver's licenses for all, we failed at. We didn't get it done. But we got it done now because we never gave up. Thank you all so much for listening to this story. Using this story and the successes here to go out and continue the organizing we have to keep on doing to make sure that this country lives up to its promise. Thank you.